So, hi everyone, my name is Mico. I'm the principal data scientist at LEA, or Léger Analytics. And today you're going to hear a lot from Aksel, who's going to explore with you the different ways analytics can help business leaders make better decisions. But before we move to the main presentation, I wanted to give you just a little bit of background on LEA, or Léger Analytics. So our team, LEA, is relatively new. It was created about 5 years ago, and it started by using standard market research solution, traditional tool like Excel. After that, LEA 2.0, if you want, really developed out of the need or needs coming from our clients, where we included new tools, new skills, more advanced analytic technique to perform like more customized solution. And we build stuff like interactive report and dashboard. Now we're moving on to more of a what could be called a 3.0, where we go beyond survey data. We make use of primary data where there's a need for more advanced analytic or data science technique like AI and deep learning. And in our collaboration, well, we use CRM data, transactional data. We can even do online media listening. So if your crowd is on Twitter, well, we can web scrape that as well. And we always recommend, when possible, to make relationship between different data sources. The idea is to bridge the gap between what the people are saying they're doing and what they're actually doing. So our group, the analytic group, is composed of a bunch of nerds. I'm one of them. We have different backgrounds. We have engineers, we have math geniuses, I'm coming from a behavioral science background, and we have people coming from the more traditional market research background. We all come together, we join effort to help organizations make better use their data and make better decision with it. And to lead us all, we have Aksel, who's here today. Aksel started his career as a mechanical engineer. He was working with flight simulator or something, and then he moved on to leading team, develop fun analytic model in big company like Deloitte, Bell Media, and Cirque du Soleil. In the meantime, he did his MBA, and lastly, he joined us as the Vice President of Analytics. We are so lucky to have him. He's very talented and a lot of fun to work with. So I'll let you continue from there, Aksel.
Thank you, Mico. Appreciate it. Wow, that's a great introduction. Hi, everyone. So as Mico said, I'm Aksel. I'm heading up the analytics team for Léger, so Léger Analytics. And we wanted to spend a bit of time with you, probably the next half hour or so, to talk to you a little about the types of cool stuff that we're doing and we're planning on doing. And hopefully it triggers something and it piques some interest in you so that we can continue conversations, okay? So let me just get started with my PowerPoint presentation. So analytics, right? So a lot of people are talking about data, the growth of data, analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and it's taking over our lives. What does it really mean for businesses, right? If we're doing it right, what it could mean for businesses is that we make use of data and turn it into information and turn it into products and models that benefit somebody in the company in the form of decision making. You make better products, you make better services, you respond to clients in a different way, you launch the right product in the right market at the right time. So whatever it might be that you're interested in doing at the time, there's a good chance that you can make use of data to be able to make enlightened decisions. There's a lot of talk around intuition, business acumen, domain knowledge versus data. I think, a lot of the conversation is either or. I like to have the and conversation. I think they both coexist, right? Intuition is great. Business knowledge is critical. And understanding of a category, understanding of consumers is awesome. Oftentimes we come in with hypotheses, and where we can really leverage data and analytics and some of these products is to be able to accept, reject, modify these hypotheses. That's basically how it goes. And it's an ongoing conversation. It's an ongoing discussion. The reason why I like to see data at the table is because it removes people's personal opinions and biases and judgments, right? And it provides a more objective way of looking at things. Not the only way of looking at things, but it's another consideration that we must keep in mind. So whenever Leah is actually engaged in a mandate, it is always, I don't like to use always as in nevers, but in this case I will, it is always rooted in business outcomes and business questions. If the very project that we're working on, or if the very thing that we're building for a client doesn't answer a practical need, a business question, a business outcome, a business result, then we're not going to touch it. We always tie it back to the business. The reason being is, financiers are limited, resources are limited, people are limited, time is limited. So we make sure that whatever we're doing actually moves the dial and the needle somewhere to make somebody's life easier, right? So that's really the basis of the work that we do. So I talked about who we are in the last, Léger Analytics, obviously from Léger, we inherit a long tradition of quality, working with research data, working with survey data. A lot of the things that we do is anchored in rigor, is anchored in a lot of the quality and the QA that goes behind survey and market research. And we continue to do that. That's our bread and butter. Over the course of the last year, we've repositioned ourselves in the marketplace in the way that allows us to work with clients, whether or not they're doing market research, whether or not they have survey data. If you're in business, chances are you have data. You have data on your clients. You have data on their transactions. You have data on their interactions. You might have data for sales. So whatever data you're sitting on, plus whatever data that can exist out there in an unstructured manner on social media, on the internet, what have you, what people are saying about you, plus anything you might have on your digital analytics, web analytics, so on and so forth, we are all there with bells on to be able to ingest it, to work with it, and to kind of connect the dots between all the different data sets. And I think what sets us apart is that we're data agnostic. We don't particularly care what the source of data is. We try and answer questions, right? So if the answer to a specific question is best answered with data sourced from a source, then that's what we're going to use. If it's another source, then that's what we're going to use. Again, it all is anchored in business outcomes and business questions. Yeah, so if there's one message to take away from today, it's really that Léger Analytics, the team, is there to work with clients regardless of the type of data. There doesn't necessarily have to be a market research component to it. We can work with first-party data, the data that the client has, and also third-party data that might exist out there for us to go and collect in any which shape or form. One thing that's really important in considering when you're doing analytics, I find, is this whole concept of declarative data versus quote unquote actual data. So what people say they do, or what people say they're gonna do, is not necessarily what they actually do, right? And you might say, well, one is better than the other, and we can have that argument. In my mind, they're both very valuable because one speaks of perceptions, one speaks of ways of thinking, one speaks of motivations and reasons and so on and so forth, and the other one really speaks to the result. So by understanding what's driving results, by understanding what perceptions are, you can try and connect dots between what people actually say and what people say they're going to do and what people actually do. And some examples in my career I've learned, Mico was mentioning that I used to work at Cirque, and these are things that we've published publicly so I can talk about it, is that people saw themselves as, a large part of the consumer base saw themselves as not very sensitive to price, right? VIPs and jet setters and, like night owls and so forth. But when you look at their pricing and purchasing patterns, that's not what we saw. So that was really interesting for us because we could message and communicate to them in a way that was most relevant to them. But when it actually came down to do the pricing and bundles and discounts, we took that into consideration because we knew that that's what they were buying. So sometimes having a view on what's being said and what's actually being done completes the picture, and it can help inform your strategy, your business strategy, depending on who's around the table. If you're a marketing person, if you're a salesperson, if you're a product person, so on and so forth, it can really help clarify the picture that you're seeing. So one of the things that I was mentioning earlier is that when we're in front of clients and when we're talking to them, we're always talking about business stuff, right? We're always talking about like, what's that business challenge you have that you wish you could improve, that you wish you could change? And it's always rooted in them. And while clients all have very different situations, very different contexts, different products, different services, different geographies, different types of clients, at the end of the day, they all fall within some of these categories that we've outlined to you in front of you. The details might differ, the context might differ, the story around them might differ, but at the end of the day, typically what clients are looking to do is they're looking to make the right go, no go decision. Am I launching this product? Am I launching this service? Am I going into this geography? How many of these widgets can I sell? How many of my service units can I sell? Who can I sell it to? So on and so forth, right? Like a market sizing. Like, should I be going into this business? Yes or no? The second thing is, once they've decided to go, let's say they've gone into the marketplace or they're already in the marketplace, how do I position my brand? How do I position my product? How do I position my service? Why is somebody going to come to me compared to a competitor of mine? What is being said about me? What do I have to keep in mind while I'm going to market with this product or service? What are some of the marketing and communications implications of what we're hearing out there? Acquisition, right? As you're going into the marketplace, like you need to acquire clients. Like where are these clients? Who are these clients? Who are the clients that are most likely to purchase my product and my service? Are they in a given geographic location? What sets them apart? Is there anything different about my client set compared to the general client set, so that I'm able to kind of put the finger on who I'm trying to attract, right? Maybe not at the individual level, but who at the grand scale level. The next along our life cycle here is about retention and is about growth. So you have a client, you want to keep the client, you want to grow the client. Questions like, well, who is most likely to churn? Who is most likely to leave? Who is most likely to upsell? With what product? With what service? And try and understand who those people might be so that you can take those actions, hopefully before they decide to churn, before they decide to leave and attrition occurs. And at a time where it's most likely that they will upsell to another product or service. So retention and growth. And then the last piece, we talk about optimization. That's really from a marketing and media standpoint. How can I invest my marketing dollars in a way that maximizes my desired outcome, whatever that desired outcome might be? So this is kind of like, if I can think back, 15 to 20 years of business discussions that I've had and issues and challenges that we've been trying to solve with data and research and analytics, I would say that 95% of the conversations we've had actually sit somewhere along this continuum, and sometimes in multiple places along this continuum. So we like to think of this at Léger as kind of our as our, I guess, skeleton, if you will, to kind of place situations and challenges and understand where a client's current concern is. And the reason why we do that is because for each of these, as you might imagine, we have an arsenal of suite and tools and products that we can use to be able to address some of those concerns. Some of them are off the shelf and some of them are custom built. It really depends on the situation and the context of the client. So let me just spend the next maybe 10 minutes or so getting into some of the details behind this. I'm not getting into technical details today. I'm keeping it at a high level, but just to give you a sense. So we talked about market sizing. What type of things could you expect as an outcome or as a deliverable for market sizing? We might do 3-year forecasts, 5-year forecasts for your product and your service. We might have breakdowns on geography. We might have breakdowns on the different types of products, on the different types of services that you have. We might prioritize, resources are limited. If you can develop, I don't know, one product out of 3 or 5 different ones, we might be able to put the finger on the winning one based on, the decision criteria that we've put in place. Of course, in speaking with our clients and making sure that we're leveraging their domain expertise while we're doing that. The reason why this is really helpful for clients is that it removes part of the uncertainty of going into a new market with a product, right? Often cash flow is an issue. Often the finance department with the marketing department spend lots of time understanding what can we expect, when can we expect it, so on and so forth. And while there's no magic bullet, there's no model that's going to give you great prediction or perfect prediction, these types of tools help assess a little bit of the uncertainty and the risk and help take away part of it. Again, it's about decision making. So this is more about market sizing. Recently, we did something for a provincial government body where we looked into supply and demand of childhood education. And we tried to forecast, we did forecast the gap, if there was any, between the two, so that they can better organize themselves and allocate the resources to be able to build more supply for childhood education in places where we saw that there was going to be a gap. So that was built on a forecasting model that we put together a couple of months ago, and it was very well received. Going down that list and that life cycle that we talked about, go to market. What am I leaning on when I'm going into the market with a product and a service? And what's my winning hand, right? Like, what is that thing that I need to claim, or at least I need my product to be able to claim that it can do? What are some of those selling features? What is the thing that's really going to move the dial? Who are my clients and where are they, right? So we've been doing some GIS work, so geo information systems work that kind of identify the pockets of potential clients, the pockets of the potential audience in a given marketplace. So to be able to allow for some geo-marketing capabilities, right? Making use of data at the geo level to be able to highlight and visualize and illustrate where demand is high and where potentially supply is not so high, so that they can start targeting their efforts from a geographic perspective. We talked about acquisition. So if you're a business that already has clients, we can start looking into understanding what your current client looks like and trying to build lookalike models so that we can find other people that look like them, whether it's in social media, whether it's in another database that we would have gotten from a third-party data vendor, so on and so forth. Also, propensity models. For example, if you have a database of clients and they've signed up to certain services and products, could we identify those who are most likely to purchase another product or most likely to sign up for another service? So we've built propensity models in the past to be able to help us do exactly that. There are some applications of this from a geomarketing standpoint as well, by making use of third-party data. If we have a sense of what the lookalike or what the target audience is, we can start putting our finger on where do these people live and where do these people work. And it can have all sorts of media implications as well, trying to attract them and trying to get their attention. When they're at home, when they're driving back and forth from the office, understanding their traffic patterns and so on and so forth. So there are some applications in that as well. When we talk about retention and growth, really it's about, as I mentioned earlier, identifying those at risk of causing attrition in your business before they actually do it and take action, right? If there are customers that are likely to churn based on their behavior, then wouldn't it be valuable to be able to take action before they actually leave your brand and leave your company? So that's what we do when we're looking into churn models. What we're also doing in this type of work is we're looking into things like customer lifetime value. Understanding of your customer base. Are there some customers that are more valuable to you than other customers based on the definition we give to valuable? Is it a profitable customer? Is it a customer that generates the most revenue? Is it a customer that is most easily maintained because they don't call asking for maintenance and service and so on and so forth? So whatever that might be, the idea there is try and classify customers in different buckets of value so that you can focus on those that really matter to you most. From a growth perspective, we've been tinkering with recommender systems in the last little while. We've been working with a online food company. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but basically it's meal kits, right? So when you go on the website, you can order a meal kit that you like, and it comes to your door. So we're tinkering with a tool that would make a recommendation to the next person that goes onto the website. Right now, what they do is they offer whatever is available or whatever's been popular in the past. But we're looking into understanding, well, can we make use of existing data and what people purchased, what other people purchased, and what are some of the similar products that they've purchased, and understand satisfaction and understand and make recommendations as to the next thing that this person would appreciate the most. So recommender systems is something that we've been interested in for the last little while, and we're building some capabilities there. From a retention and growth standpoint, it's also interesting to make use of the vast amount of data that exists online. What are people saying about your product? What are people saying about your brand? What are people saying about the category? Like, what's the sentiment around your category? Is it positive? Is it negative? What themes are associated with negative comments? What themes are associated with positive comments? Are there things you can do to be able to improve customer experience? Are there things you can do to be able to reverse that negative sentiment, as it might be? Making use of all that's being said out there could be a very effective tool to be able to put your finger on what's happening. From an optimization standpoint, we've done quite a bit of work on this type of mandates over the last, I would say, 3 or 4 months. Basically, the big question is my marketing budget the right amount? Should I be spending more? Should I be spending less? And oddly enough, sometimes the answer might be that you're spending too much and you might want to reduce your marketing spend, because the incremental and the marginal benefit or return on that marginal dollar that you spend is decreasing to the point where you're not really getting much in return anymore. So it could actually be that. So lots of companies and brands are looking into helping them understand what's that optimal budget is for their investment. And then secondly, to try and optimize the allocation of those of that budget. How much of my media dollars, how much of it goes into TV? How much of it goes into radio, online, so on and so forth. And we have models that help us get a better sense of that. Of course, when you're mixing traditional and non-traditional type of media, TV, radio with digital, there is never a perfect solution and a perfect tool. But the models that we've built have been built over historical data. And they've made sense, and they've really spoken loudly to our clients, and I think it's helped them take the right steps forward with their media optimization investments. I think that kind of completes it. On the last slide here, for each of those different sections that I talked about, it just lists some of the tools and some of the approaches and deliverables that you might expect if we were to work together. But you'll have access to this document, what I presented today, what Mico and I presented today, after the presentation. And if you're interested in learning more and having a conversation with us, by all means, you can go to our website and sign up, and then we'll happily give you a call and we can start our conversation if that interests you. So it's 12:30, and that's the end of our content. I would open the floor to any questions that you might have.
We do have a first question here by Darcy. I don't know if you want to answer a bit on that, Aksel. Darcy's asking, what other data provider do you enrich your data with? He or she's asking Environic Analytics. Is there others?
So it really depends, Darcy. It could be any data provider. So we're data agnostic. So I've worked with Environics before. So all the data sources have their pros and cons, and certainly Environics could be a valuable tool. It's something that we've used before. But I guess the answer really is it depends on what the client is trying to achieve and where the data resides in a way that we can access it quickly and at not such a high cost to our clients.
We may just give a minute if people have other questions. Otherwise, we'll leave you to your lunch, and you'll always have opportunity to write to us directly if you have other questions. Well, thank you very much for coming to the webinar, and enjoy the rest of your day. I don't know, Aksel, if you wanted to add something.
No, it's great. Thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate it and look forward to speaking to you.